whether you are bedroom only or 24/7 lifestyle. Whether you identify as kinky, non-monogamous, BDSM, leather, fetish. Dating Kinky is packed full of practical information and proven tips and suggestions to find and connect with the right person or people for love, sex, play, friendship, and more. Welcome to the Dating Kinky Book Club, presented by Dating Kinky and Curiouser.life.
Hello. Hey, Sabyasachi. Always a pleasure. Good to see you. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. There we go. We were having some technical difficulties, but I think I've got it figured out. So yay. How is everyone today? I hope you're well. For those of you who don't know me, hi. I'm Heather, also known as Nookie or Miss Nookie, if you prefer an honorific. I identify as a hedonistic, dominant cuckoldress pimptress who is polyamorous and monoromantic. I live a woman in charge lifestyle 24/7 with my partner of nearly 10 years. Our life is full of love, passion, sex, adventure, exploration, and I believe that everyone can find and create a lifestyle like that for themselves. So I write books, I teach workshops, and I offer coaching for better love, sex, romance, and kink for all people of gender, relationship statuses, sexual orientations, and more. Hello, that guy over there. Good to see you today. So today we're talking about roles. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Inigo Montoya, the Princess Bride. So what do you call yourself? Dominant or submissive? Those are two that spring easily to mind when it comes to kink. What about top or bottom? Pet, primal, mommy or daddy, little or middle, slave? Are you still exploring or undecided? That's okay too. Perhaps you don't really know what you are yet, just because you don't know what all those words mean, or none of them seem to fit. In this live, I'll discuss the roles that we offer on Dating Kinky and what they could represent to you and to those who use our app to help you find the roles that fit you best. Sabyasachi, I am having a nice day. Thank you for asking. For those of you who are just joining me, please don't forget to comment or ask any questions that you have in chat. I love engaging. I keep an eye on the scroll at all times. For me, going live, a big part of that is engaging with you. So let's dive into this. When it comes to our kink identities, many of us do not fit into a single box. Roger says human, but that may be in question. I'm guessing most of us fit in at least that box, human or human-like. Good to see you, Roger, as always. For example, I have many roles. I'm a dominant. I'm a top. I'm a bottom as well. I'm a kinkster, a cuckoldress, an owner, a mentor, a hedonist or an Epicurean. These are just what come to mind when somebody asks me about my roles. I use kinkster as my primary identifier on several sites because I feel like using any of the others might give people who don't know me a too limited idea of me and of who I am. When I am, like you probably, much more complex than a single word. Which is why on Dating Kinky, from the very first prototype that we put out there, we actually allowed all of our members to choose as many roles as they wish to fit them. Like you can choose one primary that shows up on your profile, the mini profile that shows up throughout the site, and you can choose as many roles as you wish to identify yourself and to match with others. Because there are so many options, right? And some people, sure, they're like, I are a dominant. And, you know, they choose, check off the box, dominate, right? And they go on their merry way, never looking for more, wanting more, or feeling like that box is maybe a little stultifying. However, I've found most people, as they go through their lives, change and grow and add roles, explore identities, and look for people to connect within those different options, which actually, interestingly enough, we have a site. We have a project, and I just thought about this, which you would think that I would have like immediately thought about this as soon as I planned this live, but I'll post in the chat here. exploringid.com. exploringid.com. So coming up in June, our next weekend event is actually going to be about exploring our identities, the kink identities, the sexy identities, the relationship identities, and also our vanilla or core identities. That is free to attend live, just like, you know, most of our weekend events have been. And looking forward to digging down into the different identities and boxes, right, that we might find ourselves choosing. So going back to our kinky roles, what do all of those things mean? And there are a lot of terms for how we identify. And today we're going to go over some of those. And we're going to start at the very beginning with kinkster. After all, like, what is kinky? Because people will say to me, so how kinky are you? And I'm like, I don't know how to answer that question. What do you think is kinky? To some people, oral is kinky. To others, maybe a spanking is kinky. Power exchange dynamics, kinky, right? A little bit of swinging thrown in there, kinky. Like, what is kinky? And in order to answer that question, I actually wrote a book called So What is Kinky Anyway? And it's available for sale on Amazon. It's also part of our Plus membership. And in that book, I was not necessarily trying to definitively answer, so what is kinky anyway, but to answer a lot of questions that somebody who is new to kink might want to, you know, think about for themselves. And also answer the questions that people who are not kinky, who might have a partner who is coming out as kinky, or a child or a parent or a loved one of some sort who identifies as kinky, to help them sort of navigate what is kink and how might this affect my life to have this person in my life who identifies as kinky. But so what is kinky? Because what I think is kinky may not be what you think is kinky, right? Like we got the whole chips, dips, chains, whips, a little candle wax on the nipples from Weird Science. So when I decided to write that book, it was a challenge for me to kind of figure out what is kinky. Because if you go to Google and you type in define kinky, you might get the following two definitions. What I got were 1, involving or given to unusual sexual behavior, and 2, having kinks or twists. So in my book, Dating Kinky, and for the site Dating Kinky, I created a definition that I feel combines the two and throws in a bit more for fun. And this is what I use when I define kinky for myself, and I talk with people about kinky. So kinky is something greater than the straight and narrow, a flexibility in how you view and navigate the world. A kinky person is different than your average person, opened up to more possibilities, especially, but not necessarily, in relation to sex. So if you think you're kinky or outside the norm and what you're looking for in your mate, well, then I hope that I can be of service by sharing with you my insider knowledge and experiences of a lifetime lived in and out of kink, over 30 years at this point. Sabyasachi says, are you kinky is basically an abstract concept, cannot be properly defined and varies person to person. Couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. It's a challenge, definitely, to have that conversation. So right now I'm going to assume you're watching this because you're kinky. Or maybe you're not, but you're curious. And frankly, I feel like the curious part is the most critical part. Like that's a huge part of life. That's why Dating Kinky and everything that we do is in the process of rebranding to Curiouser. And the Dating Kinky part of things is going to be Curiouser and kinkier. So let's start with talking about 5 terms that many people experience when they start off with kink. Dominant, submissive, top, bottom, and switch. Okay. So people, especially those new to the community, get these terms confused a lot, like a lot. We were talking about that this morning, as a matter of fact. We were talking about, are you a submissive? Are you a kinky bottom? Are you a hedonist? Are you a masochist? All of those things have different definitions. And sometimes they all go together, and sometimes they go together in various conversations, and sometimes you only get one. So when people get these terms confused, it causes real friction in their attempts to connect and create relationships and find play in the kinky community. So let's talk about this. A top. When somebody identifies as a top, they are someone who gives actions in scenes or sex. This may mean spanking, whipping, flogging, pegging, whatever. Okay? A bottom is someone who takes actions in scenes, spanking, whipping, flogging, etc. So I said that I identify as a top and as a bottom. So I give, for example, spankings and floggings and pegging. I also take from very specific people floggings, because to me, a good flogging feels like a massage. Rope. I've had people tie me up and suspend me, and I really enjoy that, right? So I am both a top and a bottom. In that case, I consider myself, as we call it on Dating Kinky, a TB switch. I switch top to bottom. I actually identify primarily as a hedonist or an Epicurean. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But a top and a bottom has nothing to do with your mindset. It has to do with the actions that you perform, whether you give them or take them. And it's my opinion that most people, the vast majority of people, are going to enjoy both sides. Not everyone. Some people never take and some people never give. But a wide majority of people explore both sides with various intensities. Sabyasachi says shibari play. Yes, exactly. I love rope skills and shibari play every now and again. I don't give it though. I am not a rope top. I have not learned everything that I would need to learn in order to do that safely. But I do enjoy it being done to me by somebody who is skilled and knows what they're doing. In the lifestyle, a dominant is someone who gives mental leadership to another. So this might be somebody who gives mental leadership in a scene or over a lifetime, right? So this can include telling somebody what to do within a scene. Within a lifestyle, it includes direction in life choices, self-improvement, tasks, chores, etc. Right? A submissive will take mental leadership. Again, take commands and or requests as commands, life choices, self-improvement, tasks and chores, etc. So people often get confused between dominants and tops and submissives and bottoms. For example, I'm dominant. Mentally, I take control of my relationships. I enjoy both topping and bottoming. I love to be tied up in rope. I enjoy rough sex. I like fire play as a bottom. I do not submit. So I identify as a hedonistic or Epicurean dominant. My mindset is dominant. I don't take orders. I don't accept direction from others. I don't allow others to lead me in my life. But I enjoy all sorts of play and physical sensations that feel good to me, right? There are people who are very toppy, maybe even sadistic, who have zero interest in leading another's life. There are bottoms who love kinky sex and beatings, but have zero inclinations to follow another person mentally. My partner can be quite sadistic as a service to others. He's aggressively sexual when he's given free rein. He is a delightful bottom, and his mindset is submissive to me, right? A switch now may be someone who switches between dominance and submission, or topping and bottoming, or between all four in various combinations. Wow. With just 5 words, look at how complex we've gotten, right? Like, it's crazy. And the crazy thing about this, hello, Sir Thomas, always a pleasure. The crazy thing about this is the competition. For some reason, in a lot of lifestyle circles, being a dominant holds more weight, more respect than simply being a top, which I don't really get. A dominant could be somebody who's just a natural leader, while a good top will be someone who has spent potentially hundreds of hours perfecting their crafts. Not to say that some dominants don't also focus in on learning about leadership and psychology and so on and so forth in order to be better leaders. All I'm saying is that I think it's worth judging people on who they are and what their skills and ethics are, rather than the title they use to self-identify. But I have lots of ideas on how things would be different if I ran the world. Just saying. Now, real quick, before I continue, I hope you'll grab a copy of Dating Kinky for yourself and follow along. You're welcome to purchase it on Amazon or Kindle, or Amazon for Kindle and Audible, where we have it narrated by the amazing NJ Cole. You can also get it in PDF, EPUB, or Mobi format free in our membership community simply by joining Dating Kinky, datingkinky.com. You can get the audio version as a plus membership at no additional cost. So would love to have you join us. Now I'm going to talk about master and slave. So people are like, well, what's the difference between master and slave and dominant and submissive? And if you ask 100 people, you're probably going to get about 132 different answers. No one can completely agree on this in the lifestyle. I don't know why. It's crazy, right? So what is a master? Simply a dominant with more, right? Some people also use the term mistress here, while others use mistress to mean simply a dominant woman or even a woman on the side. So you see why it's important to connect with people. But a master has more experience, more power. You might be able to liken a master to a dictator or one who gives orders rather than simply leading. Many would say and have said that it's not really all that different from being a dominant, simply a difference in title. It's just semantics. While others say it differs to a great degree, right? Personally, I see a master as someone who's put a lot of time and effort into developing themselves and their relationships and has mastered their lifestyle, educates and mentors others, and is someone others might look up to. Right? Sir Thomas, no one said judge anyone on first appearance. If you have to judge when you know the person and their whole story. No one should judge anyone on first appearance. There you go. If you have to judge when you know the person and their whole story. Absolutely, 100%. So master versus dominant. Slave versus submissive, right? Slave is also another one of those terms, super contested, right? Roger says, I think people don't agree what it is because the term has such negative connotations. That's entirely possible. But even people who see the term as a positive disagree, right? Because there's so many different ways that people live this lifestyle. But let's look at a submissive as someone who has less. It's a slave as a submissive who has less rights, less self-direction. Many would say it's not all that different from submissive, simply a difference in title. Again, semantics. While others would say it differs hugely, and the gap is far and wide. When it comes right down to it, though, people resonate more deeply with some words than others because of their own exformation, their own experiences with the words, their own ideas about the words, and so on. And that's okay. Sir Thomas says one needs to master themselves before anything else. I agree, right? Of course, all masters are still human. So what is the acceptable amount of mastery versus humanity? Regardless, it's ideal to discuss not only what the words mean to each person that you interact with as you get to know them, but also to learn more about their actual experience living the words. Because what a slave who's lived a 15-year relationship and a 24/7 lifestyle might think and expect out of that role, and what someone who wants to be a slave but has not yet had the experience might think could be two radically different things. Are you with me on this? So then there is the OP, or owner property dynamic. One person owns the other. Would you say this is deeper than DS or MS? Could be. Some live it and experience it as a more dehumanizing label and identify with it as such. And owner pet, another OP, which is how my partner and I often identify, focusing on the deep bond of love a trainer or handler often has for a pet. So Sir Thomas says, no matter how you relate to our title, we are humans first and foremost. 100%. Couldn't agree more. So please don't forget to like this video and share it wherever you might find me. It's a huge help for me to have people recommend me to their friends, family, and groups, pages, social sites that you're on online. And thanks so much. I know a lot of you do this for me, and I really do appreciate it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. So let's talk about some other roles. How about slut? Slut is often used as a derogatory term. This language has been reclaimed by those who are proud of their sexual liberation or their sexual freedom. What it means to each person, how each person lives the word slut, if they choose it as a title, you can likely guess that they are open sexually, non-monogamous, at least in the physical engagement way, and likely proud of that fact. Right? Toy. A toy generally refers to someone who is owned and is not necessarily a full partner, specifically within the realms of sexual and kinky play. They identify as a human or an object to be used for others' pleasure. furry. Furries have a special admiration for anthropomorphic or cartoon animals. They develop a strong connection with these characters. And they often create their own personas that embody their favorite animal traits. Now, some of these might be real animals that actually exist, and some of them might be imaginary animals like unicorn or dragon. Some may simply identify as a puppy. Some may play as a puppy and wear a collar and leash. Love puppy boys. And others will craft or have crafted entire fursuits of their persona to wear for socialization and play. A voyeur is someone who likes to watch others. In kink, this usually means people who watch others practicing kink or having sex. Sabyasachi says, like pony play. For the furries, yes, oftentimes. Although a lot of people who identify as ponies don't necessarily identify as furries. So it's good to sort of check how they identify their subculture, because some people feel like pony play is a part of being a furry, and some people feel like it is not at all because they don't identify with the overall culture of furries, which is not unlike how there are a lot of men who might have same-sex encounters but don't consider themselves gay or bisexual because they don't identify with that culture or the lifestyle. So they're referred to as men who have sex with men versus gay, bisexual, pansexual, etc. So identity is so complex and so very much a part of ourselves. So Roger says, I have an issue with the term pet because for me it implies not human. I think everyone reacts differently to every term. Absolutely. And so for me, I can understand that, because when I think of pet, I tend to think of the bond that I create when I am training a dog and we're creating that deep partnership. Yet at the same time, when I call my partner a pet, I don't think of him as a dog or inhuman. In fact, I actually raise him above humans when I talk about that. Like, this is something more to me than most of the humans in the world. So again, it's all about your exformation, right? What do you bring to a word through your experiences and your trauma and your life and your definitions and your culture and so on and so forth, your religion even. Petro says, I love pony play, but I don't identify as furry, but have questioned the relations between the two. So there you go. Petro, if you are anywhere near Raleigh, North Carolina, you should check out Wingnut Stables when they do their pony derby. It is amazing. Anyway, I'm a huge voyeur. I love watching people enjoying themselves in the way that they enjoy themselves. And I love providing, when I have the opportunity, a space that is safe and accepting for people to do that. And then watching them is sort of a validation to my ability to create that space. It's a very fulfilling process for me. On the other side of things, an exhibitionist is someone who likes to be watched by others. In kink, this usually means people who like to be watched while practicing kink or having sex. I'm a voyeur. I am not so much an exhibitionist. So, cuckold, cuckoldress, or bull. These are the three participants in a femme-centered cucking relationship. A cuckold is usually a masculine partner whose femme partner, the cuckoldress, enjoys sex and relating with other men, the bulls, while the cuckold sexuality is restricted and or controlled. Other similar lifestyles include hot wifing and stag and vixen. I don't like the term bull. I find it dehumanizing and othering. I prefer the term bull friend or even masculine third. I tend to use masculine third when I'm talking to people not in the cuckolding lifestyle. I tend to use bull friend when I'm talking to people in the cuckolding lifestyle because that matches and engages the language they're already familiar with. And then you have cuck queen and cuck cake, which refers to the femme partners of a centered masculine partner. So the cuck queen is the femme cuckold role or the femme cuck role, and the cuck cake is the femme bull term, right? To separate genders, many people use cuck and third. So there is a wider range of genderless options there for them. So let me tell you a little bit real quick before I move on about our Plus membership at Dating Kinky. You can find it at getplus, GETPLUS.datingkinky.com. If you love this content and want more education on love, sex, romance, and of course, kink, there is not a better offer than Plus, in my opinion, because not only do we give Plus members an edge in the Dating Kinky app with like a little badge on your profile that shows that you support us, and also that you are committed to and serious about connecting with other kinksters, we give you a boost in technology like saved searches and notifications when someone new joins who matches your specifications. Plus members also get group chats. And we're going to have required group chats coming soon for those people who only chat with like their submissive or master as a part of a three-way chat, for example. Video verifications for Plus members with all users, video and audio chat with other Plus members, higher chat request limits, and more. And then once you join Plus, you actually get access to all of my books, not just Dating Kinky, which, you know, hey, we're talking about today, but So What is Kinky Anyway? Understand Me Now and That's in Order, FLR, Femdom and Women in Charge, It's Not Cheating, The Big Book of Ass, and more. And you'll also get immediate on-demand access to over 400 hours of educational webinars. We've got you covered on learning everything you need to know to make the most of those connections, no matter where you make them. For only $9.99 a month, you get access to all of that. Content on power exchange, relationships, communication, rope, navigating the kink scene, mental health and kink, and so much more. And you're supporting a small business, mine. You're giving us the resources we need in order to continue producing all of this free education that I'm incredibly passionate about. And you're helping us keep going and keep developing apps. Like right now, we're also working on a boundaries journaling app that all of our Plus members will get access to immediately. Of course, if you're not ready or you don't feel like joining Plus membership, I get it. I hope you will. I would love if you would. But you are always, always welcome to join these free lives. And please don't forget to like, love, or subscribe wherever you're finding me so you don't miss a single one of these lives. Now, next in our roster, the kinky family dynamics. Now, these squick some people out, and I get it. They've squicked me out in the past, but the more I learn about them, the more I realize that for the vast majority of people, these are simply embodiments of roles. They're not actually replacements for, fantasy family. So daddy, for example, daddy dom. A fatherly figure who is absolutely not a father or related, but who takes on a dominant role and patriarchy sort of thing in the relationship. So this might be somebody who provides that combination of affection and firm control and discipline within a dominant lifestyle. And then the mommy is, of course, a motherly figure who is not a mother, who takes on that same kind of dominant role in the relationship. Daddies and mommies take on the role of a caregiver of sorts, one who dominates and disciplines their partner. Right? And then as the companions to the daddies and mommies, you've got the adult babies, the littles and the middles. These are roles like personas that represent parts of an adult within a consensual relationship, allowing those adults, this is the key, we're talking about adults here who can consent, to enjoy the things and the mindsets of childhood when the world seems simpler and less stressful. The primary differences are age levels between adult babies, littles, and middles. Right? So, quick question. Do you have any questions or comments about what we've covered so far today? We're going to be wrapping up here in just a few. So if you're with me live, pop them into the chat. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to pop them into the comments, or into the forum if you are watching this on Dating Kinky's community. So a few more roles that we have on Dating Kinky, again, to explain and allow you to help figure out exactly, what you are or what you're curious about. Swinger. Someone who engages in group sex, not necessarily kinky sex, but group sex, or the swapping of sexual partners. A hedonist or sensualist is a person who believes that the pursuit of pleasure is the most important thing in life, or a pleasure or sensation seeker. Right? I personally like the term Epicurean or Epicureanism versus hedonist or hedonism. The idea in Epicureanism is that mental pleasure is regarded more highly than physical pleasure, and ultimate pleasure is to be free from anxiety and mental pain, which is pretty much how I live my life. In Dating Kinky, we also offer the roles evolving, in flux, new to this, and exploring. For those who don't feel like they fully or permanently identify with any of those other labels. We also offer none of the above and ask me for those who prefer not to label themselves at all, but instead choose to have conversations about their roles. Sabyasachi mentioned sapiosexual. So yeah, absolutely. So that is something that we don't necessarily have in our roles, although we're always open to adding more roles. But is something that a lot of people, we have a section in the Dating Kinky profile that says, describe your current relationships. And a lot of people put in there sapiosexual, demisexual, phrasexual. So there are so many variations on what you can be and how you can identify. And frankly, I love it. I love talking with people. I love it when people say to me, oh, hey, I identify as supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And I'm like, what? Tell me more about that. How is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious completely different from, excellent gobsmackery? And they tell me, and I'm like, oh, So there's a new identity, right? And that is fantastic. Theodore P, hello and welcome. Just found your videos and channel. So cool. Wife and I are listening in, and you're new to the lifestyle. Yay. We are Ask Me people because we are learning and having our minds blown. I cannot tell you, like, okay, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but like, I just got goosebumps because there is, wow, so much coming up for you. Wow. Welcome not only to my channel. Hi, I'm Heather, also known as Nookie, but also to the lifestyle. This is infinite. There is so much out there to explore and experience and do. The sky is the limit. Like, seriously, there is so much out there. And how exciting that you and your wife are exploring this together. Like, that is just amazing. So wonderful for you. I am thrilled for you. And hope that you will find everything that your deviant little hearts desire, because I cannot tell you how amazing my life is in both kink and vanilla life because of my experiences in kink and the things that I have done to learn to kink well and to connect with people through kink, which absolutely 100% translate into vanilla life. Theodore says it's tricky to balance a life of judgment and morals pushed on us, ways that people say we should feel, so it's liberating. Oh yes, absolutely. Liberating. And anyway, I've got big opinions about, judgment, morals, people who say we should or should not do that. In fact, I've got a live coming up in a week or two, all about shoulding all over yourself and masturbation, and what it means when we are taught how to be. And unfortunately, we're taught how to be by people who haven't quite figured it out for themselves. And that is a real shame. Some of our first full swap experience was like Pandora's box. Oh, I bet. And that is also, I will say that is a normal, common, and valuable part of the process. The things that you will learn as you go and the way you will grow together in various ways will be huge. Absolutely. I would highly recommend keeping an eye on the videos here and focusing in on the, I do some non-monogamy videos. I also do a lot of just like relationship type stuff. I highly recommend keeping an eye on those, joining the Plus membership if you can. That's at getplus.datingkinky.com, because you're going to want to find that balance between your relationship and protecting that and growing that and being able to flex also as individuals and to be incredibly ethical and loving and compassionate with both yourselves within your relationship and with others. So you are absolutely okay to share questions. 100%. As far as experience, I would suggest coming to another one. We're about to end today, and I can take another question or two. But absolutely, when you join us in the middle of a discussion and you have experiences that relate, absolutely do share them, because one of the reasons I go live is specifically to be able to engage with the people who join, right? That's the exciting part for me. So yeah, welcome to Kink, both of you. I mean, that's super exciting. Like I said, I've earlier in this where you probably weren't quite here yet, but I'm 30 years in, and the idea of joining kink sort of and being new now is so exciting, right? Like there is so much available to you to learn and grow in ways that there were not when I stepped into kink at 19 back in, at 92, I guess. So Theodore says, thanks, we'll check your library. Balance is so strange now. Haha. I mean, I'm grateful to have gotten in and find really the love of seeing my wife in pleasure no matter what. And I think she enjoys. Yeah, I mean, so also if you're not yet familiar with the term compersion, check that out because that's huge. And the more that you can cultivate compersion, I think the better both of you are going to be at all of this, right? Real quick, also the sweet spot in your relationship. So this is what Theodore wants, right? This is what Theodore's wife wants. Sure, ask one question. This part in the center, this is where you overlap. That's where you build your relationship together, right? Anything outside of that overlap, discuss it, how you're going to get those needs fulfilled if they're needs, or those desires fulfilled if they're desires. But the things that you do together, the sweet spot of your relationship, the things that you both want, that is going to be the key. That is going to be the core of everything that you do. And it is going to be like the solid bedrock, the foundation of your kink, of your love moving forward into kink and into, you know, any and all alternative and or sexual lifestyles, for sure. Sabyasachi, it is always a pleasure to have you in the chat and to have your thoughts and opinions. You're a huge value to me, so thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to take a quick drink while I'm waiting to see that question when it comes in. And thank you, Petro. I really do appreciate you coming to these lives and signal boosting me 100%. It is a huge honor to me when any or all of you recommend me and tell others to check me out for any reason. Like it's huge to me. And I cannot thank you enough as we grow and as I explore these methods of, you know, communicating and sharing my love of kink and life and so on and so forth with everyone else. So, okay, Theodore's question. I think the biggest challenge was for her watching me make another woman orgasm and for me watching another man orgasm with her. We had a discussion after that. Any advice on approaching this? So, yes. Let me get my head on. This is very much a non-monogamy centered question, and that's good. Compersion is huge, right? So her watching you make another woman orgasm. So the idea was in that she was able to see this woman take a spot that she has filled in your life. And when you saw another man orgasm with her, again, you were able to watch this man taking a spot that you had fulfilled in her life. And yeah, I can understand that's rough. You said something about the orgasm that changed perspective. It is rough because, and I call these surprises, right? These are things that as you go through this life and you accumulate experiences, there's going to be the weirdest little things that you're going to be like, oh yeah, like I was so into this until, you know, you went to our ice cream spot with this other person or whatever it is, right? It's little things until you watched Game of Thrones with somebody that wasn't me, or, you know. I like to look at this from a different perspective. My perspective is my partner enjoying themselves? So rather than focus on the partner of my partner in that scene, I'm focused on my partner. is my partner enjoying themselves? And if my partner is enjoying themselves, how much does that fill me up? How much do I love that? And if you don't quite understand that feeling, or if you're not quite feeling that feeling yet, try the idea of turning to your partner right now and seeing them smile, and that warmth that just fills you when they smile at you, right? That is compersion. It's a type of empathy that is very specifically pleasurably focused. When I see my partner enjoying themselves with someone else, I am filled up because I want my partner happy and fulfilled and enjoying themselves, right? That is my goal in life. My goal in life with my partner is to build the best life for both of us that we can possibly build. And sometimes that means that we have to do things that aren't just the two of us, right? Like he goes mountain biking with his friends. I don't go mountain biking, right? That compersion is key, right? How much do you enjoy your partner living their best and most experiential life? It's not just what can I get out of this? What can I explore? What can I do? And not just what we get out of this and what we explore and do together. It's also how much do you love the idea of your partner being more fulfilled, more exploratory, more happy, and experiencing more pleasure in your relationship? Let's put it this way: in your relationship, in the relationship that you have, but with whomever, right? Than ever before in their lives, or that they ever even could have imagined, right? Like, mind blown. Roger says one thing that people don't think about is that jealousy is going to happen. That becomes even harder if your husband or wife catch feelings. 100%. 100%. And it is a process. It is absolutely a process. And the main key that I would suggest is both of you look at it as collaboration rather than competition. Don't compete with each other. Don't battle against each other. Don't try to force the other person into, your way of doing things. Collaborate. How can we take this thing that you like? And how can we take this thing that I like? And how do we combine them into our life to make the best life we could possibly have together? Theodore, I appreciate the insight. Looking forward to future shows and asking questions. So interesting you brought in external context. Compersion, is that the spelling? Yes, that is exactly the spelling. And you might even be able to look into the lives on this channel and find something I did on compersion. I'm not sure if that was taken down, but if so, then it's definitely in the Plus member library. I did an entire hour-long discussion on compersion. Prasant, hello. Do you think being a submissive to wife helped grow our relationship to cuckold relation? That is not necessarily a step one, step two. Those two things don't necessarily go together. There's more I can answer in another one, but the answer is no, not necessarily. So we're going to end things. Thank you, everyone, those of you who joined me today. If you love this discussion, please do like and share it with others who you think might enjoy it. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you're finding me so you don't miss out on upcoming lives. Thanks, y'all. Really appreciate it.